Well, welcome to Thoughts Roundup. I'm going to make a lot of folks happy today because a lot of folks have been talking about and asking about Brother Thomas Kraft, and he's known from coast to coast and somewhat around the world. And so we are happy. I am happy to have him here with us today. Brother Kraft, thank you for allowing us this time.
Thank you. My privilege.
You have you've been around.
I have.
And everybody loves your preaching. They talk about little things that you've said and done, or messages that you've preached, or churches that you've built, and of course, this last pastorate of Jackson, Mississippi. When you say Jackson, Mississippi, you're saying a large church, Pentecostal church. And when you're saying Jackson, Mississippi, you are just saying Tommy Kraft. And so that's the way we really feel, and you can't do nothing about it.
I guess not. Not now. Brother Marler, to return it, everybody knows you. I've said before, behind your back, if you die or when you die, we'll have to rent the Coliseum, wherever that is, because you got friends. I can't even get you to talk to me when they're on the green on a good golf course. I guess you have it plugged in the ear to go straight to your brain. You start talking, I think you're talking to me.
I'm probably faking it. There probably wasn't nobody else. There probably wasn't anybody on the line.
It could have been anybody from California.
Hey, what about that time that I said to you, you pulled right up on the green in a golf cart, and everyone knows that that's a no-no. And you pulled up on the green, and I said, Brother Kraft, you're up on the green. And just as I reached my hand to swing aboard the golf cart, you put it in reverse and slung that thing as hard as you could, and slung me, and I rolled all the way down the hill.
Now, we're having to make this one twice, but you didn't say anything about that a while ago.
Well, but I didn't think about it. But I want to tell you something.
I remember that, and I was so embarrassed, I did not know what to say, so I said nothing.
You didn't say I was sorry.
Till the years passed.
Yeah, that's right. Last year.
I guess probably so.
I believe it was this last year.
Maybe so.
I knew you didn't say anything about it.
Worried the life out of me. I thought maybe you was hurt and didn't say nothing. Because you could do that, you know.
I had to go to the hospital for 38 days.
There wasn't a hospital in Jackson.
Well, it's so good to be able to relax with you and talk, and I enjoy hearing you. Now, we started out, somebody asked me the other day, they said, how long have you known Brother Kraft? Well, I could have said, just made it simple, 200 years.
Yeah.
But I said, well, I knew him before he married his first wife. And so he was, and I tell him, I said, I think he was around 26 or something like that. I really didn't know, but I think that's what it was. And you were a dashing young evangelist, and every evangelist starting was trying to be like you and trying to find out what kind of books you read and where you got your stuff. They didn't know you got it from the piney wood thicket over there around Anicoca and walking behind. Old Toad, was it?
One was Toad and the other was Rhodey.
Rhodey?
That were big logging mules.
Yeah, that's little logging mules, but you did plow with them, didn't you?
Oh, my, yes.
Yeah, well.
Until Toad jumped the fence, ate the peas, swelled up, and died in the garden.
Was that your fault?
No, it wasn't my fault. Daddy went out there with his knife, and he just plunged his knife into the belly of Toad.
Oh, don't be talking. You can't talk like that on this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We didn't think.
But what happened?
But now
told God.
he was dead though. Now he was dead.
Yes.
So don't nobody think that we're cruel to animals here. We just don't do that. But anyway, Brother Kraft, I will talk about probably Mary Frances, and of course Diane. And Mary Frances was one of my friends. She and I were friends. We were in the same church when you come over there and stole the organist and took her on the evangelistic trail with you. And of course that was right. That's the way it should have been, because y'all made such a fine couple. But tell us a little bit about you went to West Texas and started a church, and just kind of bring us on up quickly. Bring us on up from West Texas. Bring us up to meeting Mary Frances, and then we'll go on to building churches. And
well, Mary Frances had picked me out of a Bible school annual. She pointed the picture to my friend and said, "I'm going to marry him." She was only 13. But she made such an impression on my father when they came, her and Brother Matheson and his wife, they came to Anacoca and preached a revival. I wasn't there. But Dad told my mother, said, "If Tommy wants to marry Mary," said, "I'm behind it." Because he had to make sure the Kraft shook every tree that they knew around the country to see if there's anything fall out about the person you like. Well, I didn't. And funny, Brother Marler would mention Mary, because when I go to places now and I don't know the people, I mean, I know them, but maybe Diane now does not know them.
yes,
And he says, I say my first thing, well, I was married to Mary, and she never sat at my feet. I'm married to Diane, and she doesn't cook. So that gets a smile, brings us together, and I always say I got permission to say that.
because you do know that she cooks.
Yes.
A lot.
Right.
Yeah, I tell you what, Diane is such a sweet person. Why don't we just jump over a little bit and talk about when you met Diane? Whenever you were coming up, you were flying in, and I picked you up at the airport.
Correct.
And you was going to meet her, and we were going to go out to the Copper Kettle, way out almost in the country, past New Palestine, Indiana, and y'all were going to meet at that fancy restaurant out there. And on the way out, I told you, I said, "Now, Brother Crow, Joan's bringing Diane in her car, and you can have this car after you meet her and everything. That you can have this car if you'd like to have it." You said, "Oh no, I don't want any car. I don't leave me with that woman. Don't leave me with any woman. And I don't want to be by myself." And so, okay, all right, brother. So we went in there, and you charmed her. You would have thought that you was the biggest plantation owner in Mississippi, and you said so many nice things. And I told y'all, I said, "Now we don't have to be formal." I said, "Diane, this is Tommy. Tommy, this is Diane. I'm OC, and that's Joan, and we don't need to be formal." And you asked, she asked, what she asked?
Well, after that went around,
Yeah.
she said, you said, if I can remember right, "What do you want to call her?"
Yes.
I said, "Well, it's a beautiful woman named Diana that got killed in an automobile accident. She's the most beautiful woman in the world, so I'll just call her Lady Di.
Lady Di.
And then she said,
Oh, you
what do you
poured it
want
on.
to call me? What do you want me to call you? I said, well, just cut all the protocol. Just call me Your Highness.
Yes.
So now when she gets
Ticked off.
she called me Your Highness today. So that's a funny thing.
Now, so there's more to that story.
Yes.
When we walked outside,
Oh,
he says in a loud voice, "Now, Brother Marler, what would you, which one of these cars did you say I could, which one of these cars
Yeah.
did you say I could carry?" You changed your mind, didn't you?
yes, that meeting was quite. I told a lot of people say, "Well, you got good suits." No, no people from said just date all over. I said no, there's no way. I got one shot, and that's all. And I'd said that long before I came to Indianapolis. But when I met Diane, the deal was sealed.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I took the car, and
I know where you went.
yes, I do too.
Well, you probably took the route through the cornfields, but you went to
No.
the ice cream place, didn't you?
I think so. But it's been a wonderful ride. I've enjoyed every day of my life, even though we have problems come, they'll come and go. If they don't come, if they come one at a time, you can handle it. When they come in flocks, you have to really pray about it.
Oh, yeah, you know. Well, now, we'll better quickly go back to, maybe, we can't talk too long because, like in Louisiana, they say the battery's about dead. The first church you built, wasn't that West Texas?
Yes, I was 19, and the first trip I made out there, I rented a community building, held a revival, and the people poured out, and I don't know where they come from.
Was your grandmother the youth leader?
Yeah, at 90 years old, she was probably still doing
No,
it.
really, she was worker
She was
with the church.
the little town that we built the church in when I was about 20, 21, she knocked on the door of every house in that town, not once or twice, but 3 times. And she was so happy. And I preached a meeting. It got going real good. So I stayed there and built the church and paid for it in a short period of time.
Now, Brother Kraft was also youth leader of the state of Louisiana, and then you went to build a church in, where was it?
That was Iran, Texas.
No, I mean the second one.
Oh, St. Francisville, Louisiana.
St. Francisville. He went and built a church there. And then from St. Francisville, is that when you came to Jackson?
Came to Jackson, yes.
And became Mr. Jackson?
Yes, I was there. Almost came in 1962, July the 29th. So this coming July, I'll make 59 years, almost 60 years right here in Jackson. But that's not the only church. Brother Gamblin built the first building.
Yeah.
I built the second one and the third one.
Yeah.
And that's where we are now.
Now, Brother Kraft was one of the worst drivers that there ever was in the land of Pentecost. But he made it through fine because the police, all they had to do was look and see Bishop on the back of his license plates. And it was all right.
Even if they stopped me, they'd say, "Oh, it's you." I said, "Oh, yeah." And they'd go phone it in, and I'd be fine. So I never gotten a ticket in Jackson.
Well, you know why? Because you talk to everybody, because you help everybody. And it doesn't have to be Pentecostal people for you to help them or whatever. They know that you're a friend to the people here. You're a friend of the city. And I'm going to tell you what, Brother Crowd, it just means so much. It's going to mean a lot for people to see you and hear you speak a little because, you've kind
Out
of
of sight, out of
dropped
mind.
out a little bit,
Well,
Yeah,
I've had a few problems in my life.
that's right.
I've had heart attacks.
Yeah,
I've had cancer. I had my colon cut out.
but
I mean,
nothing,
pardon me.
that bothers you very much.
No. I quit smoking and drinking when I was about 8 or 10.
Yeah,
And so I've never lived a life of that kind of sin, but I've enjoyed every day. In fact, West Texas, when they built the church there, some of the loneliest times, I had not married Mary Frances, but I was alone and lonely, but I didn't mind it. I did not mind it one bit. I loved every day.
I remember the last time when I called the house. You probably remember, and they were taking Mary Frances to the hospital and said she probably wouldn't come back.
Correct.
Well, I called and they said we're taking her to the hospital. So that's all right. I was just going to tell her a joke anyway. She heard it and she said, "Oh, I want to hear it."
Yeah.
And so I told her a joke on her way out to the hospital.
Yeah, she was in the ambulance.
Was she?
Yes, she was in the ambulance.
And she just died laughing. And then Diane has been so good and I don't know. You've just been so
She's
blessed.
been good for me.
Yeah.
Diane has,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, she's a sweet lady. And I like the way that, and I think this is the way it ought to be. When someone is lost their mates like that, there's been no jealousy. There's been no nothing. That's just such a nice thing because we just kind of got sense enough to realize what is.
Yeah, it's true. I can't know how much people don't know. I can't tell you how much the preachers in this world don't know. You have to be 50 before you know anything. And then you're getting too old. But the thing is, it's a wonderful thing to be able to look back and see the mistakes as well as all the good things that happened. You remember when we had a revival here, one stretch of meetings here about a couple of months or so, we had over 500 pray through and receive the Holy Ghost. Now, we know how many we baptized, but I don't know how many actually got received the Holy Ghost. They came in here and trailers and cars and vans and spent the night on the church. I'm in the property, but wherever we went, people were talking about it. I don't know why, but that's the time I think you told about when we had the meeting with the famous guy. I don't know his name now.
Well,
I can't remember his name.
Well, I tell you what, let's have another video a little later
Okay.
and talk about some of those things.
Okay.
I would like to just save that as a surprise. A few people might know about it because we put it on YouTube one time, but I'd like to save it for this video effort. And if you don't mind, Brother Kraft, thank you for your ministry. Thank you for your anointing. Thank you for your basic honesty. And, every once in a while you could dress down a little bit if it wasn't.
They'll bury me with a suit and tie and my hat on.
And a vest.
Probably.
And
a vest.
But anyway, you are who you are, and you're a well-read man. We'll talk about the New York Times and the whole works next time. Okay?
All right. Thank you very much. Brother Marler, you are known and loved everywhere in this country. And thank you very much for all that you're doing and have done.
Well, thank you
It's
very
been a
much.
blessing. I've known you about all my life, I guess, almost. I was grown when I met Mary Frances, and that's about the time I met you.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I love you, and thank you very much.
I love you too. And hey, thank you folks for listening. And I promise you, Lord willing, we'll come back and finish this up. God bless.